Good morning. My name is Maureen Chung. Welcome to Daily Devotional of August the 4th. And the Bible passage is Ruth chapter 1, the entire chapter, verse 1 to 22. The title is Anything But Death Separates You and Me. Now today we started the devotional based on the story of Ruth, and she was a woman of Moab married into a Jewish family. In the period of the Judges, the faith of the Israelites was in cycles of ups and downs. Moab was one of the early enemies during the time of Ehud of 1309 to 1229 BC. But in the story of Ruth, there seemed to be a time of relative peace between Israel and Moab. This story depicts the true faith of a family in a period of turbulence as portrayed in the book of Judges. It is a beautiful story of selfless love and devotion, kindness and honor. Let's start with chapter 1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelek, meaning my God is king. His wife's name was Naomi, meaning pleasant, and the name of his 2 sons were Mahlon, meaning weakling, and Kilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem, meaning the house of food, Judah, and they went to Moab and lived there. Now Elimelek, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Kilion also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. When Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's house. May the Lord show you kindness as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." Then she kissed them goodbye, and they wept aloud, and said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought that there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grow up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters, it is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me." At this they wept aloud again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. "Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her." But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and where I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me." When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. So the 2 women went on until they came to Bethlehem. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them, and the women exclaimed, "Can this be Naomi? Don't call me Naomi. she told them, "Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. They call me Naomi. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me." So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. Naomi summarized her experience in the last 10 years in the land of Moab this way. "Don't call me Naomi," meaning pleasant, she told them. "Call me Mara," meaning bitter, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me. Verse 20 and 21. When she left Bethlehem, Judah, 10 years ago, Canaan was in a famine, but Moab had food. She had a husband and 2 young sons. It seemed that her life was full then. Her family grew when Mahlon married Ruth and Kilion married Orpah. Apparently, the family revered God, whom Ruth got to know from observing how the family lived. Ruth, a Moabite, was getting to know the Lord, Jehovah or Yahweh, as shown later in her speech recorded in verses 16 and 17. Meanwhile, disaster struck. With the deaths of her husband, Elimelek, and her son Mahlon and Kilion, her family was emptied out, with the 3 widows left. There seemed to be a mild spiritual crisis, for she thought the Almighty Shaddai had made her suffer by bringing on this misfortune. Yet she passively accepted her lot without blaming God. Perhaps she was thinking that God was punishing her for certain sins which was unknown to her. Now hearing that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food, verse 6, she wanted to return home to Bethlehem. It was pointless for her to remain in Moab as a Jewish widow. Out of Naomi's kindness and honor, she tried to send her 2 daughters-in-law home to their parents. The 2 young widows had done their duties to Naomi's family. It was time for them to seek their own restful future. Naomi graciously said, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." Verse 9. Naomi's love for her daughters-in-law was sincere and unselfish. She said, "It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me." Verse 13. So if God was punishing Naomi, she wouldn't want the 2 young widows to suffer with her. Orpah left, but Ruth clung to her. Then came Ruth's famous pledge of devotion and loyalty. "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me." Verse 16 to 17. This sounds more like a marriage vow than a pledge from a daughter-in-law to her mother-in-law. Ruth invoked the covenantal name of Jehovah or Yahweh. Not only that Naomi's God was to be Ruth's God, but her determination was so strong that she swore by the covenantal name of Israel's God. The years in Naomi's home had changed her faith for good. She was in union with spiritual Israel. Thus, Ruth accompanied Naomi to Bethlehem in Judah. I'm impressed by Naomi in 2 ways. First, her life as a godly woman affected Ruth and Orpah tremendously. You can pretend to be devoted to God when you see people some of the time. But you cannot pretend to be devoted to God when you live with your family all the time. Naomi's life was transparent and genuine. That affected Ruth to want to follow her God, whose covenantal name was Jehovah or Yahweh. I ask myself, is my life just as impactful? Actions speak louder than words. James aptly says in James chapter 2, verse 17, in the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Further in James chapter 2, verse 26, it says, as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. May I do what I say and act what I believe? My second impression of Naomi is her unselfish love. As an older woman, it would be more comforting to have a traveling companion to escort her back home to Bethlehem. Yet she asked again and again for Orpah and Ruth to go home to their parents. Naomi was mindful of their future happiness. Their parental homes in Moab would offer some security and stability, but nobody could guarantee their future as foreigners with Naomi in Bethlehem. This is godliness lived out by faith and sacrifice. Ruth touched me deeply as well, with her love and devotion to her mother-in-law. Ruth clung to her, verse 14. These days, the deep love and devotion between daughter and mother-in-law is rare. Ruth was more like a real daughter to Naomi. Can Christians live differently from the world? Can daughters-in-law be like real daughters to their mothers-in-law? In the next few chapters, we shall see this played out in full. Ruth would keep her pledge. In conclusion, I ask myself, do I offer hope and comfort to people in distress? Do I serve and support them with a sincere heart? Or do I find the commitment too hard and the cost too high? If I'm secure in God, then I have no fear of losing, and I don't even count the cost. But if I'm not secure in God, I look out for myself and I weigh the cost of help. To love God and to love each other, these are the greatest commandments to live by. We've seen that in Naomi and Ruth. Do we see it in ourselves? May God help us in our walk of faith, hope, and love. Thank you for joining me, and may God bless you all. See you tomorrow. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you.